Someone told me long ago there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. That's what she said. Bars, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday. Coming at you hot on a rainy Monday. There's something about the rain. It's wet. Bars. It's nice. It puts a nice little feeling in the air. The physical embodiment of cleaning up the smut and the dirtiness and a fresh start. I'm turning into a goddamn Hallmark card. That's what's happening to me. Drinking water out of Baby Yoda's head. Everybody got me Baby Yoda this year. Not sure why. Don't think I've really talked about it, but it's just all the hype out there in the streets. But I love it. I love the Mandalorian. But it's a nice rainy Monday. It's funny because I really am turning into a Hallmark. I've said the corniest thing last night to my girl. I'm getting in bed. You can hear the rain pitter-pattering. And I'm like, fresh start. And she just started laughing at me as we lied down there. And I started laughing because I was like, that was the cheesiest thing I could ever say. You got to be with someone that will make fun of you at the end of the day, okay? But I do like the rain. I like that. Got to get that boom, boom, bow. That cuddle season. Not even cuddle season. That's all I'm trying to say. But you know the cold weather where you just got to put a jacket on. You're like, I'm putting some sweats on, making chili and cornbread. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. That's what kind of Monday it is, ladies and gentlemen. Coming at you hot, real hot on a rainy Monday. Okay? Beowulf a little upset. She couldn't get walked. She couldn't get walked this morning because you can't get wet. Bars. That's just good sense. You know? That's just good sense. She won't even go out to pee at night when it was raining last night. How am I going to take her for a fucking walk? Okay? She's a goddamn athlete. Got to stretch those legs. She won't work out rain, snow, or shine. Okay? It's just shine with her. She's fucking spoiled. She doesn't know how good she's got it. That dog came from a trash can. She's trash, okay? You know, people say, oh, they're just trash. She is trash. And you want to know why? Got her from the pound. And that's not why. But on her information pamphlet, it says they found her in the trash. Beowulf is trash. And I gave her a good life. She has a Tempur-Pedic bed that she sleeps on. Let her on the couch. Sometimes let her on my bed. And she just gives you those puppy dog eyes like she don't appreciate shit. She's living the high life, okay? If only the other dogs in the pound could see her now. And I got her from the Palmdale pound. So a lot of those dogs she was friends with in the joint, they're probably dog fighting somewhere. Let's be real. That's what happens with a lot of them. Dude, the pounds are depressing. When you're in there looking for a puppy, let's be real. We're all in there looking for puppies. It's just like going to an orphanage. You're not going to look for some fucking 16-year-old. Why? Let me just deal with the worst 2 years of your life before you're an adult? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. No, you want to get that freshie. You want to still be able to instill some stuff in them. You don't want to just, it's like buying a pit bull just straight from the pound when that thing is 10 years old and has a scar across its face. It's too late, and that's what's sad. But you walk through that pound. I don't know if a pound is even acceptable anymore. The shelter. You walk through that shelter and you see those older dogs and you try not to make eye contact. And you want to know why? Because it's fucking sad. Because they look at you and you look at them and you don't want to hold too much eye contact because you don't want to give them hope. And it's real sad. It's real sad. Maybe one day when my life is established and I'm good, I got a few dogs, I got a good nucleus of dogs, I can go get one of those old dogs, you know? Maybe when I'm an old man, I don't need no spring chicken, no little puppy. Just get an old dog to kind of hang out with. We've both been through it, you know? It's like sometimes you just go to the sauna and you're sitting next there, some old man, and you're just talking about life. Hey, we ain't trying to mold each other's life. We're just enjoying it, and we're talking about our experiences. That's what I'm going to do with an old dog one day. But on the occasion I'm thinking about when I got my puppy, Beowulf, trash can dog, there was an old dog, and I made eye contact with it, and I was like, oh, I'm so sad, but where's the puppies at? And I did see that dog actually get adopted that day. An old man did it, and that's where I totally stole the idea from him. I was like, oh, that makes sense. He went and got this old dog, because that's just what heroes do, okay? Everybody who gets an old dog from the pound, that's just what... Shout out to you. You guys are doing the Lord's work, okay? Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. It was something about that. Dogs. Oh, you know what it was? This annoyed me when I adopted Beowulf, is when I got her, the lady brought her out. It was a cute moment and everything. And the lady hands me Beowulf licking my face and everything. And I go, oh, puppy breath. I forgot about it. It's magical, because it's like, it's only that one thing that happens when you have a puppy. No one really is thinking about puppy breath until you got a puppy in your arms, and then they lick your face, and you're like, oh man, puppy breath is real. Like, you forget that it's like a distinct thing. And I'm enjoying this moment. And as I'm walking out, this lady, this girl, she probably was 18 to 24. She goes, don't bring him back when he gets big. First off, cunt, it's a girl, okay? Just because I named my dog Beowulf doesn't mean that it's a boy. That's sexist or ageist or whatever you cancel culture folks like to call it. But I was like, why would you ruin this moment, okay? Some people, there's just haters in this world, okay? And they just try to take happiness away from you. You know, I'm sure that's something that people experienced over the holidays. That's why I was trying to come up with a bit, and I wanted to put out a video. Full disclosure, we didn't even really talk about it too much on the last episode. The last episode, my power went completely out. I had to record the podcast the day after and I was like, I have to put this out because I haven't missed a scheduled podcast. And I had to put it out a day late and put out the poem with it and everything. But I was planning to do all that the day before and have a bunch of other stuff that I was going to put out, this content. And content. I hate when people call content. Like, you just got to keep putting out content. But I was going to make a video about the holidays and how it was kind of the bit idea. I can tell you this now. I'll probably turn it into something next Christmas, so be on the lookout. About how during the holidays, everybody wants to talk about, oh my no, I can't see my family over the holidays. Oh no, the big Christmas. And then you just start talking about how, oh no, I can't see that super toxic person, fill in the blanks, in your family that always just talks shit about my life choices, you know. People are just pretending to not be okay with not seeing family over the holidays. I almost said my toxic aunt, which I don't have one. I was just but I had to change it, fill in the blank, because I didn't want someone in my family to hear that and think I was talking about them. Or my aunt think I was talking about them. But yeah, it is kind of a thing. It's so annoying when you have people during the holidays or any time. They're just little succubuses, and they live off misery, and and they're miserable themselves, so they just like to hunker onto you and just feed on your happiness, just trying to bring you down to their level. It's like, I look at it like there's some little black and white creature, and they're just trying to suck all the saturation out of your colors, and you gotta flip those people out of your life and just not let them exist, okay? I think that's something that people are realizing during 2020. If all else has failed in 2020, it's hard to find silver linings. It's not too hard, but there's definitely key things you can take away from 2020 other than this was the worst year of my life, is that you start realizing who are the good people to have in your life and who are the people to cut out. And one thing I realized is that it's okay cutting people out of your life. 100%. I think when people don't add any value and they only take, and you I don't know. You just have to find a way. Like, there's no getting out of jail free cards, I don't think. I always thought that was such a strange thing when people would use the quote, you can pick your friends, you can pick your something, but you can't pick your family. Yeah, but you can pick which people you actually want to have in your life. And I think that's okay. I think that idea of like, oh, you just have to deal with it, that's some horse shit. That's like some things that people say when they want to manipulate you or don't want consequences for their actions. And that's one of the things I've realized in 2020. Just real reflective at the end of the year. That's what I try to do. I kind of try to look at the whole year as different quarters and different seasons. You're like, yeah, but no shit. There's spring, fall, winter, and summer. I almost forgot all the seasons. That was embarrassing. I panicked for a second inside because I'm like, wow, I'm about to really be exposed right now. Listen, your boy wasn't really doing school when he was a kid. Through some key years to know some very obscure references or facts. Listen, I don't know if people know a lot. And I found out that I have a lot more listeners than I realized from different places, because I just had someone email me that I'm 67th in the country of Pakistan for comedy podcasts. What the actual fuck? Listen, shout out to Pakistan, okay? Listen, when all this gets worked out, I'm coming to Pakistan. And we're gonna pack some fun in. Stan? Dumb. But that just made no sense to me. That is wild. It was a crazy thing. I got this email from someone, shout out to who you are, who emailed me this. And it was pretty cool to see. And I just had no idea that I had listeners that I see the numbers, but I see the data, but it just really doesn't hit me sometimes that there's people who don't really know everything about me that are listening. It's so weird to me. But I like it. I think it's cool. And thank you. Shout out to Pakistan. Shout out to everywhere else people are listening. But your boy wasn't in school for a big period of time in his life, and I wasn't really being taught. Listen, your boy was homeschooled during some key years, and during those key years, I kind of just didn't really do anything. I didn't have anybody really making sure every single day I was doing all my work all day long. And there's some things that just slip through the cracks. And some of those are random facts about the seasons where I'm just like, I gotta actually think about it. And also sometimes state abbreviations get away from me, okay? Because it wasn't during those years drilled into me to know all the state abbreviations. I know them because I run a business, so I come across them all the time. But you throw an RI at me, I'm like, I have to think about it for a second. That's Rhode Island, MN, Minnesota. Like, I got them on deck now, but what I'm saying is it wasn't something that was, just a split-second reaction of knowing it because of those key years when I was a kid that I didn't really study anything, which I almost am for. I think about this a lot because, obviously, I think when you pick something in the creative realm or entertainment, there's something else going on. You don't just choose this if you're a completely balanced individual. There's something. I'm always looking into my past and I've been through stuff, but I always try to find out what certain elements, like I think whatever hand you're dealt, I know I'm all over the place, whatever hand you're dealt, you can turn it into a bad thing or you can turn it into a good thing. And I'd like to think that I veered away from taking stuff that's happened to me and different experiences, and I tried to turn it into something positive. And you don't always see that, and I don't know. Like, that's one of the things I try not to live with any regret, as little regrets as I can. And one of those things is not hoping that your childhood was different, or not hoping that certain things that happened to you were different. Like, you have to kind of let go of that. And then you also have to see that without some of those things, you never would be the person you are, because there was times where I felt like I was socially awkward growing up, and I went through those weird periods of time in high school especially where I really felt out of place and awkward and uncomfortable, and I didn't my car that I drove in high school was a hand-me-down car that was pretty much left. It didn't run. So I had to learn how to get my car running. And I used to drive around. I remember I rarely would go places like with friends and everything in high school, but I remember when I did, this one time it was so embarrassing. I went and picked up my buddy, and for some reason, if my car would go above like 40 miles per hour, it would start going like you keep losing power, and like it was terrible. And not only that, like every other time that you would turn the car on, 10 or 15 minutes in, there was no radio, by the way. It was just a blank space for a CD player to go. It was just empty and wires. 10, 15 minutes after you drive, 50% chance the car would just start going really loud. And well, I knew that was my thing, and I was appreciative that I even could drive. It was embarrassing when you have your friend in the seat with you and like 3 girls in the back seat, and we're like supposed to go to this party. But then you get on the freeway because they're like, fuck. They're like, go on the freeway. I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. And then you're driving, and all of a sudden, and they're like, oh my God, your fucking car. And then it's like, and then they're like, what is that? And I'm like, it's poorness. It's poorness. Wonder where all those bitches are now. But the bigger point I'm making is those kind of experiences, somehow I like to connect the broken road of all this awkward shit. And listen, everybody goes through shit like this, which is why I think no one should have regrets, and no one should have this, oh, poor me experience of what they went through. Because all of those experiences, from the lack of structure when I was a little kid and learning, gave me the ability to be creative and be able to kind of be self-reliant. Because that's what you kind of learn, is to adapt and be like, well, I either have to learn how to entertain myself and keep working this muscle over and over again, and you develop it enough where it can translate to like you can entertain other people, or the imagination and having to be self-reliant, where now I can run my own business because I have all this experience from when I was a little kid being self-reliant and independent, to now I know how to structure things to be independent. Bars. But just listen, don't ask me to be on your trivia team. Okay, that might be it. You want me on your team for charades. But when it comes to trivia, do not count on me. If it's some traditional, I'm smarter than a 5th grader shit, look elsewhere. All right? Don't come to me with that. That's just, we all have strengths and weaknesses. Don't come to me. Smarter than a 5th grader, you go find someone else. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Bars, ladies and gentlemen. Bars. Bars, bars, bars. It's a weird week, huh? It's a weird week. That week in between Christmas and New Year's is like none other. It's literally just like a purgatory, where you're just like, well, the year hasn't started, but we're still in the holidays. I'm going to wait until January 1st, start working out. It gets real weird. And you know what? I'm wondering when I actually put out the first episode. Oh, okay. Maybe it was, I'm looking here right now. I think it was Tuesday, December 31st was the first day the first episode came out. So we're still coming up on a year here, ladies and gentlemen. And it was important for me to put this out before the year was up, because I didn't want it to be a New Year's resolution, but I want to stick with it, which we have so far. I think, you guys hear all that rain? I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it is pouring outside. Old man snoring. Bars. I think New Year's resolutions, if I have to be honest, I don't really like them too much, because what ends up happening is people kind of let go of them. I think it's better to have goals for the new year. And you're like, Evan, that's the same fucking thing. But for some reason, when you place it into a New Year's resolution, it kind of feels like it gives you the ability to not keep with them because New Year's resolutions already have a stigma of people not accomplishing them. It puts it in a box so that when it's one of these, it's acceptable to not accomplish it because that's what people do with them. Does that make sense? That's why I really like setting goals for a year, rather than it just being my New Year's resolution. I have goals in 2021 that by this date, I want to accomplish this. I want to do this. And I think even breaking up goals into the different quarters. Like I have a Q1, just like a business, which I do look at it because of my merch business. I look at it from Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And I think it's good to do that with all kinds of goals and where you want to be at in 6 months and setting realistic goals. This whole shoot for the moon, you'll land on the stars thing. That's just a gimmicky quote, I think they say in Hollywood. I think it's important to have realistic goals because then you can set realistic standards to capture them. Like when people start saying things like, I want to be shredded by summer. Maybe depending on what part of the journey you're at, but that also doesn't give you a realistic timeline and path of how to do that. I think when you have a goal like that, rather than be like, I want to be shredded by summer, you need to put real objective steps that you can put in to accomplish. I want to be like, what would that look like? Would it be like, I want to lose, like you would have to lose 30 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle. Okay, well now we have something to work with. This is objective data. Now, how am I going to do that? You just fill in the blanks. You got to reverse engineer that shit. You make your goals objective, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then you can actually start working towards them. Like with my business, which I find out that people are actually interested in what I do. I try to keep it all separate just because it's easier for me to compartmentalize what I do. I run a video production business. I also run an affiliates business, and I run a merchandise business. And I sell products from t-shirts, hoodies, photography prints, backpacks, anything that people put prints on online at completely different marketplaces. So I design all these different shirt designs, everything. I have over, I want to say like 25,000 listings across the internet, and I sell across platforms. Like if you're interested in this, I would definitely start with Merch by Amazon. Apply for that, where you actually work with Amazon using their warehouses to fulfill your orders when you get them. I work with Redbubble, TeePublic, Etsy, Gearbubble, all these different sites where I list my stuff and then I make money when it sells. I forgot the point of me even telling you that was. Oh, my objective goals, because I kept saying I want to make a lot of money doing this. I want to be successful with it. I want to be able to support myself. And then I had to reverse engineer that, because when I made the goal of I want to be able to support myself with merch. And what that really means is I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do whenever I want through basically passive income, where I don't have to really do that much. Once there's only upfront work, and once things are listed and they're up there, it's just profits. And I wanted the freedom to be able to podcast, to be able to do stand-up and all this stuff and not be worrying about it and working a shitty job that was taking up too much of my time and energy. And when I looked at it that way and I said, I want a job, I want to be able to support myself, it didn't give me objective data. So I had to reverse engineer of how much I need to survive monthly. How much is rent? How much are my monthly bills? How much is utilities? How much is all this? And then I got that number. And then I took that number and I divided it by 30. On average, 30. Just because I had to see how much money I need to make every single day to be able to support myself. And then once I had that, I was able to use that data to see how much money I was currently making. And when I got that, I was able to fill in the gap. And I was able to say, hey, I want to make, I look at it as simple as I want to make $50 a day. Well, that right there, that's $1,500 a month. Okay, now I can subsidize that, and I with video production work. So now if I make an extra couple grand a month on video production work plus that $50 a day, now I'm starting to, get some more free time. Oh, now I want to make $100 a day. No, that's $3,000 now a month. Okay, I want to start doing that because then I can do this. What do I got to do to this? How much more sales do I have to increase? And based on my average sell ratio by how many listings I have, I need to put up this many more listings just by the law of average and scaling ability of what I do. And I was able to accomplish that goal just by, and listen, I'm able to accomplish goals better because I'm able to create a path to how to accomplish it by using objective data, like getting out of my own way of like, well, how do I be able to support myself? Just put objective numbers in there, baby. That's a little nugget for you guys. It's cool because with the podcast, I find out that when I talk about certain things, certain people reach out about how they're interested in certain things. And it's very like-minded. Like I love to see, and I think it's so important right now, people who want to do their own thing. It really is, because the more people I talk to, it's hard to do work that you don't love. It's hard to go give over 40 hours a week in something that you're not enjoying. There's going to be a cap on it. And it sucks when you're replaceable, when all you are is a number for a business. You're just one cog in the wheel for them to keep making money. And if you start getting a little squeaky, they got to replace you, And I just think during the pandemic, it's exposed a lot of stuff in the need to be self-reliant. And being able to adapt. I think that's the biggest thing. It's important. And I think, and the only reason I talk about this now is because I know people have reached out about doing similar things and being self-reliant and having these goals and how to do it. And I have people reach out, and I kind of have this conversation in the DMs all the time. And this is a way for you guys just to listen to the podcast, because that's what I'm going to do now. You just go to episode 103 if you want to hear my structure on how to set goals to make money. Hey, welcome to Evan's Gary V experience. You motherfuckers just got to make money. I want you to go underneath your bed, find a baseball card, and sell it on eBay. Go to the thrift store and sell it on eBay. Go find your grandma and sell her on eBay. That was a Gary V impression for you guys. But yeah. Yep. It's going to be a good 2021, people. All right. Speaking of Baby Yoda, that was a terrible segue. I'm obsessed with that show. Okay? I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, stop living under a rock and bootleg Disney Plus. I don't know if you can, I don't know if there's a free trial with Disney Plus, but The Mandalorian, I have to talk about it because the season 2 just ended a couple weeks ago, and it's phenomenal. Listen, I have my buddy that we're very into Star Wars, and listen, your boy, growing up, my brother and I, we would go wait in line to pre-buy the tickets for like a week in advance. And we'd go to the movie like dressed as Star Wars. That's how obsessed we were as kids with Star Wars. Every Christmas, Star Wars. We loved it. And I still do. And it's one of those nostalgic things. Like that soundtrack from Star Wars, phenomenal. But as the more the movies come out, the more they butcher it. Like those last 3 Star Wars films that they put out and the way they displayed Luke Skywalker and everything and the story they gave him, and like it just was a weird take on it, and the way how they switched directors halfway through and then got back with the third director or the first director on the third film. It's just weird. It's like that fucking game where you have one person, they tell a story with 5 people and you're only allowed to say one word, and it's just like and then they go to the next person. Girl. Next person. Jumped. Next person. Off. A horse. Like, it's just like everybody it's a terrible sentence. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's what they did with those movies. And I'm like, how do you mess up Star Wars? Like, how can you do that? Okay, listen. And even the original movies, phenomenal. It's so weird how they did them out of order. But the Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks, ugh. The Clone Wars, ugh. But I just thought the Mandalorian made it possible, okay, that you can satisfy Star Wars fans with a great story. Because after every movie of the recent Star Wars, my buddy and I, we would sit there and talk and be like, how did they mess it up? Why didn't they do it this way? Why didn't they do it that way? Like, it was so obvious the way they could have told the story. But for some reason, Disney gets their hands on things, and it's just so, like, that's, I think, and this is the point I'm getting to. When you have big studio movies and you have to compress a story into like 90 minutes to 120 minutes, you lose so much flavor, okay? I think Game of Thrones would have been a terrible movie. It wouldn't even have made sense. But they got to tell it. That's why books are so much better than movies in the sense of just the story. Visually, obviously, movies are better being compared to text. But you're able to tell such a better story than a 2-hour movie. That's why the extended editions of Lord of the Rings are phenomenal, because it's giving you a bigger story. And I think that's partly why The Mandalorian did so well, is because it's able to slowly start telling this story and give character development and callbacks in different places that it can go over time. But I think it also takes the pressure of these big studios. I think they don't go through it with a fine-tooth comb than when it's a cinematic release. With those cinematic releases, the budget for it is so crazy. The funding is coming from all over. China controls so many of the studios. I don't know if you guys know this, but go look it up about how China really influences movies in America so much, the Chinese market, that these big studios will appease anything China says. I don't know if that's the case with shows as much. I feel like they fly a little bit more under the radar, and you get a less amount of cooks in the kitchen. You get some great, a great product, a great plate, a great dinner, a full course meal, if you have one person at the helm, like Jon Favreau. And what's phenomenal about it is he, and I need to find his name because he is a huge part of it. There is one of the directors, Mandalorian, Dave Filoni. He was in charge of the Clone Wars, the TV show, I believe, and Rebels. He's huge with the directing of it, where they're going with it. And it's like, you make these mistakes with movies all the time. Like, this was something I noticed. And Dave Filoni, what I'm saying is that he's a huge fan of the Star Wars canon, the whole world of it. He knows everything of the universe in and out. You need people like this. You always need experts in the field of movies you do. I remember even being a kid, I grew up swimming, and I'd watch a movie and they would show something with swimming, but nothing would make sense. Like when they were like, oh, they're doing the 125 meter butterfly. But I'm like, there is no 125 meter butterfly, and that's a yard pool. So it doesn't make sense. And then the time would be, they'd be like, I dropped 37 seconds and my time was 2 minutes. And I'm like, those numbers don't calculate. It doesn't make sense. And now I'm taken out of the movie. And it was just a lazy decision. I think a lot of times they do that with even Star Wars films and stuff like this, where it's like, they've just gotten so removed from the actual story of it and the actual facts, the details. It's in the details, I think, where the great story lies in movies. And I think they just kind of brush over it. And I think that's what went right with The Mandalorian, was they actually had someone like Dave Filoni guiding the story and keeping it true. And also someone like Jon Favreau, who was okay with that. Rather than, sometimes you get directors in there that their ego takes over and they want to do their movie rather than do the movie for the sake of the movie. They want to put their stamp on it. And I know that's why you hire a director, but I think the ego takes over too much when you're worried about people knowing you did this and you were great with this rather than the story. That's how I feel about it, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to agree with me. But I hope you guys learned something this episode. Start your own business, okay? Do your own thing. Get the fuck out of the system. Live happily ever over. Happily ever over. Yeah, just get over on everybody. And remember, no matter what, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you Wednesday. Like always, same bat time. If you haven't liked, comment, subscribed, go ahead and do it. Leave it a review on iTunes. If you're from Pakistan, welcome, and thank you for supporting. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.